You have seen the incomparable new Continental Mark III and the new 1958 Lincoln. Now you know you have quality products to sell that can really make you money. You have what one automotive magazine has already called the most radically changed cars of 1958. Actually, no such totally new cars have been produced in the last 20 years. Your first look told you that. But to help you really get out and sell these truly new cars, you're going to need more than a once-over look and a lot of glamorous words. You need the answers to a lot of specific questions before you can do a real job of selling the new Continental and Lincoln point for point, feature for feature, and dollar for dollar against any and all competition. So that's what we're going to give you, the answers to your questions. We went out to the field to salesmen exactly like yourselves to find just what you needed most to know. Here are the questions we came back with, and here are your answers without any frills.
How many cars are we selling this year?
Two great cars. The new Continental Mark III, and in the same classic tradition, the new Lincoln for 1958, in the Premier Series and the Capri Series.
How many models in all?
In 1958, you'll have 10 new motor cars to sell, 4 Continentals and 6 Lincolns. The Continental, Lincoln Premier, and Lincoln Capri each offer a 2-door hardtop coupe, a 4-door hardtop Landau, and a 4-door sedan. And in addition, there is the all-new Continental convertible, the most fabulous convertible ever designed.
What's the difference between this new Continental Mark III and the Mark II?
The new Continental Mark III has been expanded to full sedan size. And to maintain the exact same proportions of the classic Continental design, it has been lengthened. It's more than 10.5 inches longer than the Mark II. It's better than 2 inches wider. So you have a far more spacious motor car inside and still have the timeless classic Continental design, its tradition of quality craftsmanship, its dignity, elegance, and luxury. Instead of just one Continental model, you now have 4 to sell: the coupe, Landau, sedan, and convertible.
What about the price of the Continental?
That's more big news. All 4 models are incomparable values in the fine car field. They offer all the Continental prestige and magnificence at a much lower cost than the Mark II. As a matter of fact, the Lincoln for 1958, in both its Premier and Capri series, will have the same classic elegance as the Continental, because they have been designed and engineered in the same Continental tradition and put together with the same demanding quality workmanship.
Does that mean the Lincoln is a bigger car this year, too?
Yes, indeed. It's a totally new automobile, the longest and lowest motor car in the fine car field. In fact, it's more than 4 inches longer than the 1957 Lincoln. Its wheelbase is 5 inches longer. And because of its entirely new method of body construction, it has been lowered a full 3.75 inches and still provides headroom comparable to 1957. The long, flat, Continental-style hood is lower than ever before.
What are the differences between the Continental and the Lincoln? Differences I can point out to my prospects.
Well, let's compare them from every angle. Look at the car on top. That's a front view of the Continental. Below is the Lincoln. They both share the same massive wraparound bumpers, the same low look of stability, the same instantly recognized hallmark of canted dual headlights. But the Continental keeps its traditional lattice grille design. For the Lincoln, both the Premier and Capri series, a fresh contemporary styling theme has been created for the grille in horizontal lines that emphasize the wide, close-to-the-road look of this graceful motor car. Continental and Lincoln nameplates are in gold anodized script.
Well, what about those headlights? What's the extra pair? Parking lights or what?
No. The Continental and Lincoln's dual headlights are really dual headlights, and full-sized ones, not undersized ones jammed into a space originally designed for single lights. That's one of the reasons for the canted design. Another is to provide instant identification on the highway for the Continental and Lincoln. For full beam driving, all 4 lights are lit, providing the fullest possible field of illumination. And because of the canted design, the low, wide front view lines of the car will be emphasized even at night. For low beam city driving, only the upper pair are used, so that the car's extreme width is still emphasized. Each of these new cars has its own distinctive identifying hood ornament. The traditional four-pointed Continental star at the top, the Lincoln star below. In profile, both are truly distinguished motor cars with long, low Continental lines and traditional Continental styling of the roof, hood, and rear deck surfaces. The new deep-sloping dual-curve windshield is a standout feature on both, and you'll notice it rises cleanly from the metal of the cowl. There's no interruption of its graceful line by the usual metal molding at the base, as there will be on your competitors' models this year. On the Lincoln, the same is true of the big panoramic rear window, which helps give Lincoln a better than 11% increase in total glass area. Because of a feature that is exclusively Continental in the fine car field, the fully retractable rear window, there's a new and distinctive silhouette for the Continental this year. The Continental is also distinguished by a restrained use of chrome along the lower edge of the car. The Lincoln, in keeping with its fresh contemporary styling theme, displays a bold chrome spear along the body. On the Premier series, this spear terminates in the 8-pointed Lincoln star. The star is absent on the Capri. And above the spear molding on the rear quarter panel appears the Premier or Capri nameplate. Continental's nameplate, in raised gold anodized lettering, is on the front fenders, and the distinctive Continental star appears again on the side of the roof at the rear, just above the belt line. Both Continental and Lincoln have a distinctive wheel scallop, sculptured in metal on the front fenders, another new styling hallmark. Both cars feature new, smaller 14-inch wheels with a 950 by 14-inch tire that puts a greater area of tire tread on the road. The Continental is further set off by its special wheel cover design, another exclusive Continental feature.
What's the story on that retractable rear window in the Continental?
On the Continental only, the big center section of the rear window is fully retractable. It is electrically operated from the driver's position. This is a big selling feature, unmatched by any other car in the fine car field. With the rear window retracted all the way, a Continental owner can have straight-through ventilation, an open-air feeling he cannot get in any competitive car. The fluted chrome frame for this window, projecting to the rear, is not only a unique styling feature, but gives added protection against rain. The L-shaped moldings at the base, sweeping to the rear, give a sense of forward motion. Even the convertible has this retractable rear window, making it the only convertible in its field available with a rear window of glass. Now, let's see how both cars differ in the rear. Solidity, stability, and the clean-cut lines of the Continental tradition are evident in the rear styling of both cars. There's a new and distinctively different concave design to the back panel in 1958. And each car reflects its own individual front grille treatment in the back panel design. The Continental above, the Lincoln below. Set in the slender oval of the back panel, each has its own original treatment of the rear lights. On the Continental, there are twin tail lights. The outboard tail lights also serve as stop lights and turn indicators. The white inboard lights are backup lights. On the Lincoln, there is an integrated lighting arrangement that merges into the ends of the oval. On the gas filler lid in the center of the panel, the Continental repeats its distinctive star. The Premier and Capri display a script letter L.
Well, other than those differences, are the Continental and the Lincoln the same?
That's right. They're the same basic car. Same wheelbase, same engine, same transmission, same instrument panel, and everything else the same. Naturally, the interior trim is different. We'll get to that later. And because of the Continental's exclusive new retractable rear window and the mechanism to raise and lower it, in the Continental there is no package tray, and the rear seat has been moved forward about 3.5 inches.
What's the difference in inside room between the four-door models and the coupes?
None at all. Coupe, Landau, and sedan all use the same body shell. The interior dimensions of Continental, Lincoln Premier, and Lincoln Capri are all the same, except for that slight move forward for the Continental rear seat. In fact, one of the biggest stories you'll have to tell this year is the tremendous spaciousness and roominess of these great cars.
I heard we have a new body construction this year. Is it really new? Because if it is and it's an exclusive, I sure want to go to town on that.
And you can. It's completely new and exclusive in the fine car field. It's so new that traditional production facilities couldn't make it. That's why the brand new plant was built for Lincoln, designed solely for the quality production of single unit bodies. We call it uniframe construction. This uniframe construction means that instead of a body shell bolted to a separate frame, the body and strength members are welded into one integral unit. Instead of 18 bolts or so tying a body to a frame, every Continental and Lincoln has some 7,500 weld points, making the entire assembly one rigid piece. Actually, this construction method is closer to the way aircraft are put together than to the traditional way of building cars.
Well, what's the reason for this new body? What does it give the customer?
Quality. The quality a fine car should have. It makes a far stronger, more rigid unit, which resists twisting out of shape. The door and window openings stay the way they're supposed to be. You get tight-fitting doors that stay tight-fitted. And with no body bolts to loosen, squeaks or rattles are virtually a thing of the past. Uniframe construction gives Lincoln the big extra margin of weight, solidity, and structural strength that a fine car owner demands.
How much heavier is the car?
Total curb weight is about 5,100 pounds. That's about 400 pounds heavier than the 1957 Lincoln. The styling of this new body follows a universal trend. Everywhere you go, in industry, architecture, and all kinds of products, the direction is to simplicity and purity of design. More than any other car in the field, this 1958 Lincoln personifies that trend. Because of the marriage of Lincoln and Continental, this year every Lincoln has the clean, restrained Continental styling. Every Lincoln has its low, flat hood and deck lines, its distinctive silhouette.
Okay, the car is beauty. Everyone who comes in can see that it's beautiful right away. But what else is this design going to mean to him? What's the length going to mean? What's the lowness going to mean?
First, this new design has given Continental and Lincoln the finest riding qualities ever. With 5 inches added to the wheelbase, it has a smooth and effortless, truly luxurious ride. Because of the single unit body, it's a safer ride and a silent one. But this new method of bodybuilding means more than that. Uniframe construction has let the engineers design a body 4 inches lower, making the center of gravity lower for greater road-hugging stability, and still come up with more room inside than ever. More headroom, despite the lower roof, and much more hip room, shoulder room, and leg room. Notice especially the tremendous leg room for the front seat passenger. In what other automobile in the industry is there room to cross and uncross your legs with ease?
Well, the thing I like to sell is comfort in riding and driving. How do we stack up in that?
Believe me, you've never had a better sales story to tell. Besides the tremendous roominess in the 1958 Continentals and Lincolns, you have the longer, lower, single-unit construction that's safer and quieter. Foam rubber seat cushions provide extra seating comfort. And the riding qualities. Here again, it's an all-new story. Redesigned ball joint suspension for the front wheels. And a new rear suspension system, which brings a new meaning to fine car comfort. In 1958, the rear suspension uses coil springs. Springs designed to do exactly the job they're supposed to do, and that is to provide the most comfort for the passengers. The thrust of driving and the pull of braking no longer need to be transmitted through the springs. Those forces go directly to the car through new trailing arms. And there is a track bar tying the rear of the suspension system to the rear of the single unit body, giving greater lateral stability. But this suspension system does more than provide a more comfortable ride. Now there is virtually no rear-end squat when you accelerate, and freedom from the usual front-end dip when you stop. There's visual comfort, too, in the great expanse of the new dual curve windshield, a windshield that both sweeps around at the sides and slopes back at the top to give even greater visibility.
How about distortion?
This new compound curved windshield has been optically designed to be free of distortion. You're not going to have any complaints about that.
Well, what about the engine? Anything new there?
Plenty. The engine is all new. You have a lot to talk about. It's the biggest V8 ever put in a Lincoln. 430 cubic inch displacement, 10.5 to 1 compression ratio, 375 horsepower, and 490 foot-pounds of torque at 3,100 RPM. But there's more than just power. There's the new in-block combustion chamber design for greater engine efficiency and durability. In this new engine, the combustion chamber is in the cylinder block. The cylinder head is perfectly flat, and when joined with the engine block, it forms a wedge-shaped combustion chamber, a chamber designed in conjunction with the new step-top pistons to provide complete turbulence of the air-fuel mixture for more efficient combustion. The full machining of the flat cylinder head makes possible completely uniform combustion chambers, so you get identical compression ratio in each cylinder. That means you've got a truly balanced engine that will run quieter, smoother, and have a longer life. But that's not all. The 1958 Continental and Lincoln engines introduce another industry first with their exclusive three-stage cooling system. With two thermostats, this completely controlled pressure system directs the engine coolant to the area where it is needed most. First, just to the cylinder heads and intake manifold, then to the engine block as well, and finally to the radiator too, when complete circulation begins. The radiator is bigger than in 1957, with 485 square inches of cooling area. The fuel system is new. Air fed to the carburetor is thermostatically controlled. Whatever the weather conditions, its temperature is always ideal for the engine's needs. There's a new and larger 4-barrel carburetor with 2 barrels to furnish the necessary fuel-air mixture in normal driving ranges, and 2 additional barrels that automatically cut in at higher speeds or for quick acceleration. And with another exclusive new feature of this big new engine, the fuel-air mixture is kept at the proper temperature on its way to the combustion chambers. The water-jacketed intake manifold keeps water constantly circulating under the intake passages. And Lincoln's exhaust system has not only been enlarged throughout to make a better breathing engine, but the new design alternates intake and exhaust valves, so no two are adjacent to create combustion chamber hotspots. There are really and literally too many new features about this engine to go into here. But the complete story and a selling story will be found in your new 1958 Continental and Lincoln data book.
Is there anything new in the transmission?
Indeed there is. In 1958, Lincoln's advanced turbo drive automatic transmission, standard on every model of the Continental and Lincoln, has been beefed up to handle the greatly increased torque of the engine. And there's a big new story in the torque converter. The unit has been redesigned with a new contour that gives a more positive hydraulic action of the fluid. It is contained in a rugged new housing, now made of steel instead of aluminum, and welded
Why is it welded?
to give it a lifetime seal against oil leakage and protection against internal operating troubles. Gear selection is by lever, the proven and natural method. And its new design permits the car to be started with the lever in the park position as well as in neutral. Thus, if the car is on an incline, there's no need to fuss with the brakes. The park position holds the car safely while the engine is started.
I'd like to know what features are standard on these 1958 cars.
All the major power assists are standard on these luxurious new cars. Automatic transmission, power steering, and power brakes. Power windows and the four-way power seat are standard Continental and Lincoln Premier equipment. Power windows are optional in the Capri series, and a six-way power seat is available as an option on all models.
Anything new about these features?
Yes, there is. Although the wheels are smaller this year, Lincoln engineers have designed brakes with much wider shoes, so that there has actually been a 43% increase in effective braking area. And speaking of brakes, the parking brake now can be released by the foot as well as set by the foot. The switches for the power windows have been relocated, putting these controls exactly where usage dictates they should be, at the most convenient location. Another exclusive feature for 1958 is this electric lockout switch, which cuts out the individual window controls and puts all windows, including the vent windows, solely under control of the driver. On the Continental, the switch for the power-operated retractable rear window is also here on the driver's armrest.
What are the optional features this year?
Your data book contains the complete list of options and accessories for the 1958 Continental and Lincoln. But here are some of the most important. A six-way power seat, electric door locks, a remote control electric trunk lock, an electronic headlight dimmer, heater and defroster, air conditioning, push-button power lubrication, automatic starter, a new AM radio, a new FM radio tuner, an extra fidelity radio speaker, tinted glass, nylon tires, directed power differential, and power vent windows. Many of these were options in 1957, but there are new and exclusive features that are going to be big selling stories in 1958. We want to go into those in some detail. An entirely new heater and air conditioning system, an exclusive electric trunk lock release, and a brand new radio story. Let's take the heater defroster unit first. The first big selling feature is Lincoln's simple heater control. A single knob activates an electrical servo mechanism to choose any degree of heat or ventilation without heat or defrosting. There are two big heaters, one under each front fender, where they do not take up valuable space. There are 4 outlets for heated air, 2 of them in the cowl trim panels to warm the front compartment. But the rear seat passengers have not been forgotten in this newly designed system. Warm air is carried through ducts that are built right into the front door panels to rear seat outlets that have louvers to direct the warm air flow. But the new 1958 air conditioning system is even more of an innovation. It's the only front-mounted air conditioning system in the industry that provides a direct flow of cooled air to the rear seat. Because it uses the same built-in ducts to the rear seats as the heating unit, there are no plastic tubes to spoil the elegance of Continental and Lincoln interior styling. Cars equipped with air conditioning have 5 outlets in the front compartment alone, 1 at the driver's left and 2 in the center of the instrument panel, as well as the 2 floor area heater outlets. Air conditioning controls have been built into the same single knob control used for the heater. Complete details are in your data book, and only by getting completely familiar with its operation can you do a real selling job. In 1958, the exquisitely handcrafted aircraft-style instrument cluster groups every instrument and control just where they belong, within easy reach of the driver. This new design provides an almost unbelievable amount of room for front seat passengers.
Well, what about the radio, or just what's included in the radio package?
The ultimate in car radio reception. Continental and Lincoln's AM radio not only offers manual tuning and 5 push-button controls for preferred stations, but also town and country automatic tuning, which can be operated by hand or by a special foot-operated button. The package includes 2 9-inch speakers for front and rear on the Lincoln. In the Continental, which has no rear speaker location, a 4-inch auxiliary speaker is mounted in the instrument panel next to the 9-inch speaker. Also included is Lincoln's new rear-mounted antenna, which automatically extends 32 inches when the radio is turned on and retracts when it is turned off. And also available as an option for the first time is a special FM tuner for truly discriminating listeners. Another option for Continental and Lincoln customers who want the ultimate in power servants is a new remote-controlled deck lid release. A simple key-turn switch electrically unlocks the luggage compartment. A warning light signals that it's open and remains lit until the deck lid is closed, which automatically locks it.
What about ashtrays and lighters?
Since both Continental and Lincoln are truly the last word in elegant motor cars, attention is paid to the smallest detail. Even the ashtrays carry the rich look of quality handcrafting. There are 5 of them, and each has its lighter. 5 ashtrays conveniently placed, and 5 cigarette lighters, 3 in front and 2 in the rear.
I'd like a rundown on the difference between the Premier Series and the Capri.
That's an easy one. Here they both are, the Premier Coupe and the Capri Coupe. Can you tell them apart? You shouldn't be able to, except for the series name on the quarter panel and the Lincoln star forward of the side spear molding on the Premier. There are only 3 major differences between the 1958 Premier and Capri. Power windows are standard on the Premier, optional on the Capri. The 4-way power seat, also standard on the Premier, is not available on the Capri. However, the 6-way power seat is optional on both Premier and the Capri. And there are different interior trim schemes. Outside of that, they are the same car. This means that in the 1958 Lincoln Capri, you're going to have the most saleable car you have ever had to meet that Cadillac 62. Feature for feature, you have the same quality story to tell about the Capri that you have about the Premier. And because of the marriage of Continental and Lincoln, both series are hallmarked with the classic elegance of the incomparable Continental.
What about the Capri interior trim? Are we going to have more than just an all-fabric trim?
Yes, indeed. While there is one basic Capri trim scheme, this year you'll be able to offer it to your customers in a combination of fabric and leather-grained vinyl, which we have named Caprolon, as well as in fabric alone. There will be 4 rich-looking two-tone color schemes to choose from in either combination. This really gives you something to meet competition.
What about the rest of the trim schemes?
For the Lincoln Premier, there are 2. One for the all-fabric scheme with 4 different color combinations, and one available in leather or fabric and leather with a selection of 16 combinations. And for the exclusive Continental, the most luxurious-looking trim and upholstery scheme of all, available in fabric, imported Scotch leather, or fabric and leather with a choice of 18 combinations in all.
Is leather trim standard equipment?
No, it is an extra cost option, except on the convertible where it is standard.
Is there anything new about the paint jobs this year?
There certainly is. First of all, in the way the exterior finish is applied. Every model has a beautiful enamel finish, painstakingly and meticulously applied by skilled craftsmen. Nothing is spared to make the exterior finish worthy of the custom coachwork of these great cars. And in 1958, more exterior colors and color combinations are offered by Lincoln than ever before. There are 17 basic colors for the 1958 Lincoln, and in addition, 4 special colors for the Continental Mark III, which are also offered at extra cost on Premiers and Capris. 21 colors in all, and they'll be available in 104 two-tone combinations, more than Lincoln has ever offered before.
I think safety features are pretty important. What have we got to talk about?
Many prospects are definitely interested in safety. We've covered lots of the safety features in answering earlier questions, but let's just sum them all up. First, the stronger, more rigid structure of the unitized body, the greater visibility of the big dual-curved windshield, greater braking area, for though the wheels are but 14 inches in diameter, there's a 43% increase in brake lining area. The more powerful engine provides all the reserve power a driver might need. The window lockout switch, electric door locks. Not only do you have padded instrument panel, and padded sun visors, but padded door panels as well. The steering wheel, of course, is of safety design. With these features to show to your prospects, you can sell them one of the safest cars ever built.
Well, we have a pretty good performance story this year, don't we?
You have a tremendous performance story. With Lincoln's totally redesigned new engine, a stronger and yet lighter engine, displacing 430 cubic inches, with a compression ratio of 10.5 to 1, 375 horsepower, and 490 foot-pounds of torque at 3,100 RPM, the 1958 Continental and Lincoln are superlative road cars. Unmistakably, the finest performance in the fine car field.
How's the cornering?
Tests show these powerful motor cars have lost none of the superior cornering characteristics for which Lincoln is famous. In fact, with the brand new rear suspension system, it's better than ever. But there's no point in talking performance and easy handling. The way to sell it is to show it, demonstrate it. Put the prospect behind the wheel and let him discover the amazing story himself.
Well, performance and handling are okay for men, but what do these cars have to appeal to women?
Everything. Magnificence, elegance, and luxury, from the superbly tasteful exterior styling down to the smallest detail, like the lustrous, jewel-like metalwork in window switches and ash receivers. Inside and out, every model of the Lincoln and the Continental bespeaks character and prestige and high fashion that will satisfy the most discriminating taste. Nothing is lacking in comfort, in convenience, in luxurious roominess. And never has a car of whatever size been easier to handle and to drive. The 1958 Continentals and Lincolns are the most effortless handling cars in the fine car field.
This time every year, everything's always new, the newest ever. What I can use is a list of what's really new in the 1958 product. A list of the biggest sales stories I can tell.
As you've probably realized by now, Lincoln in 1958 has the most totally new line of motor cars in the fine car field. And we mean really new. Starting with its new single-unit body, a completely new way of manufacturing Lincolns, which brings new safety, new strength and rigidity, and a new kind of luxury ride to the fine car field, as well as the highest standards of quality coachwork. And spaciousness. The new cars are unequaled in interior spaciousness. Don't overlook that selling feature. There's the new suspension system, which sets up new standards of fine car riding and handling. You've got a new engine to talk about, the most powerful V8 ever put in a Lincoln, with a brand new in-block design of a combustion chamber that means new performance, new, quieter, more efficient power, with a 3-stage cooling system and a water-jacketed intake manifold. You've got a completely new heating and air conditioning system, scientifically designed to be the most easily operated system ever put in an automobile. You've got totally new styling, clean, simplified design, inspired by the classic elegance of the incomparable Continental, which puts a new, unmistakable kind of beauty on the American road. And there's more to sell than beauty. Longer wheelbase, a lower center of gravity, greater glass area are functional selling features that stem from this Continental-inspired design. You've got a new Continental Mark III, a classic motor car in its finest edition, plus a new kind of Continental, the superb new Continental Convertible, and a new position for Continental in price to offer you greater coverage of the luxury car market than you have ever had before. And in all of this, in every exquisite motor car produced, Lincoln and Continental, new meaning to the word quality when applied to an automobile. You ask what's really new? In 1958, you have the greatest new opportunity you have ever had. Whether your prospects want comfort, convenience, safety, performance, prestige, a distinctively different motor car, true classic elegance and quality, any and all can be theirs in the Continental Mark III and the new Lincoln. For such quality motor cars, there must be nothing less than quality salesmanship. You cannot afford to sell these masterpieces any other way. They are unmistakably the finest motor cars in the fine car field. The incomparable Continental Mark III and the magnificent new Lincoln. Let's sell them, and let's sell them right.